Hello, my beautiful being friends who are incarnate on this planet with me right now. Thank you so much for staying in your bodies during this incredibly powerful and transformative time on planet Earth. My name is Natalie. This is Natalie Levin Astrology. I'm so happy to be with you all. Thank you for trusting me as your astrologer. And thank you, Nadiya Shah, for having me for the third month in a row to be the full moon guidance video provider for you all. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy to meet you all. And if you are seeing this before May 6th, I will be teaching at Nadiya Shah's Synchronicity University on May 6th. I will be teaching a class that is called Cultivating Kindness when working with your clients. And if you don't have clients of any kind, this class would still be helpful for you simply to know how to talk with other people in kind and gentle and tender ways so that you work with the high vibration of being in relationship with others. That is my wish and hope for this particular class. So I will put I think Nadiya Shah will probably put that information below my full moon guidance video. And I invite you also to keep in mind right now that when I'm talking about this full moon that's coming up on May 5th, 2023 at 1:34 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States, I invite you to know that I am seeing the astrology through the veil of my experience in this particular lifetime. So if it doesn't match for you, let it go. You get to take what you like, excuse me, and leave the rest about what I say. So this is the second in a series of 2 eclipses. We had the first one on April 20th, and the second one is happening on May 5th for this particular eclipse cycle. And the first eclipse was in Aries at 29 degrees of Aries, and this one is in Scorpio at 14 degrees of Scorpio, right in the middle of, it's right smack in the middle of Taurus season. So it's like this invitation to remember we've completed this first half of our Taurus energy of the delight, possibly where I'm hoping that there's been some delight and enjoyment about the fact that you are incarnate in the meat, incarnation, carne is meat, of being in a human body. I'm hoping that you have been able to enjoy that in some way for the first half of this Taurus season. I will also say that it has been coupled with the Taurus season has begun with a very, very big eclipse in Aries, which I know for me, and also, I don't know how you were all feeling around the time of April 20th. If you go back and remember, that was about 2 weeks ago. We were also having wildly ginormous solar flares at that time, solar storms, and that can, because our bodies are electrical and our brains, our synapses of our brains fire electrically and our hearts beat with electrical impulses. You might have felt really either super amped up and you can't sleep, or you're so exhausted and you can't get out of bed. Could be expressed itself as headaches. I know that I was having headaches during that time around April 20th for like a week. Also the eclipse energy that was in Aries. Aries is around the head. So it's a lot of like picture, I have the lights on back then on April 20th and the lights turned off for 2 minutes and they turned back on. That's a lot of energetic shift and change. And now from there, we're moving into this next eclipse where perhaps you're coming back into your body. You're like, okay, I'm feeling a little steadier. I know I am. I'm feeling a little steadier. I'm feeling like I can slow down with the Taurus energy. And now this full moon eclipse in Scorpio is collectively, it's happening as Pluto is retrograde. Pluto I'm making this video on April 29th. So Pluto is slowing down. He will have stationed and become retrograde when you see this video. So the energy of Pluto slowing down, when these outer planets slow down, we feel them. We feel the slowdown. So as we're leading up to this eclipse on May 5th, you might be coming into the eclipse energy, having had a feeling of denseness, a feeling of I'm under pressure with Pluto slowing down, a feeling of you are the piece of coal in the cave, and then the walls close in and close in and close in. And you're like, I don't remember saying I wanted to become a diamond in this lifetime, and yet it's happening anyway. So that also could be happening for you as you come into this eclipse on May 5th. So I invite you to, first of all, can you be so gentle with yourself during this time? Because it is with the energy of Pluto having just moved into Aquarius on March 23rd, and now he is retrograde in Aquarius. This is the first time any of us has experienced this, unless there's someone out there who has been alive for over 250 years. Maybe there is. I don't pretend to know everything. But if most of us have not been in our bodies long enough in this lifetime to remember what it was like when Pluto was retrograde in Aquarius. That was over 250 years ago. So this is a whole new world. It really is. We don't know what this is like. This is really new. And if you're feeling really strange and uncomfortable, that sounds about right to me. I'm not surprised. This full moon eclipse on May 5th is happening as well with Uranus, I would say, conjunct the sun. So I would invite you to expect surprises and shocks and maybe reveals of secrets with this eclipse happening in Scorpio. This is collectively, this is not per sign. And we also are having, while this eclipse is going on, we're going to be having Jupiter loudly in Aries. So Jupiter's at 27 degrees of Aries. What comes up for me around this is, if you're feeling a lot of density and compression as this full moon eclipse is happening, can you possibly get out and move it through your body? Jupiter in Aries conjures up for me the image of the athlete. Like I'm gonna dun 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 dun, like I'm Rocky Balboa. For those of you who remember the movie Rocky, I am 52. I hope some of you have seen it. Like I'm in Philadelphia, that's where Rocky, he runs up the art museum steps, and the art museum is enormous here in Philadelphia, and there are a lot of steps. So picture yourself running up a whole bunch of steps. Jupiter in Aries, you're going to move your body to get some of this denseness, because with all of that, it's this fixed energy happening with Pluto in Aquarius, which is fixed air, and we have the South Node in Scorpio, which is fixed water, the Moon in Scorpio, fixed water, and 1, 2, 3, 3, if we're counting the North Node, it's 4 placements in Taurus, that's fixed Earth. How do we break it up? How do we do some sort of allow the tectonic plates to shift and move and get some mutability by moving our bodies perhaps into this equation? We'll have Venus at the last degrees of Gemini as this eclipse is happening, this lunar eclipse. So, excuse me. Wait, is it lunar? Excuse me, hold on, pause for a second. Yes, this lunar eclipse, it's emotion, there's tenderness, there's deep feeling that probably will want to bubble up and out during this eclipse. And with the conversation happening, we could say that Mars is Mars in Cancer, which is, for me, I get angry because my needs aren't getting met. I'm not feeling mothered, I'm not feeling cared for. So I'm going to get angry and lash out in aggression or violence? And can I invite myself actually to lean into the feeling? Can I soften down into the feeling space? If there is, I actually really think that anger is a secondary emotion, and most of all, there's grief down below there, grief that I don't feel like I'm cared for. This really young part of myself, this tender part of myself isn't feeling met. And if the eclipse is bringing up feelings of anger and rage for you, can you soften and maybe not say whatever it is you were going to say right then and there on the day of the eclipse, May 5th? Could you wait 24 hours, even 48 hours before saying it? Because it could come out a little like burn up the person that you're talking to. Burn them up and cause damage in a way that you actually weren't intending. You might be intending it. I mean, this is a Scorpio eclipse. And my wish for you is that you feel empowered to have a choice about the words that come out of your mouth. Venus, the way the goddess of love and a sense of value and how you feel your worth, is in Gemini, and she wants to speak with and have the flavor of Venus on your words. So when you speak, if you're feeling really, really big emotions, it might be hard to access the highest vibration of the words, the Venus, the goddess Aphrodite. So if you slow down, the invitation could be, I'm really feeling like I have to send this email, I have to send this text, I have to write this comment, I have to have this conversation right now. And what would it be like to wait maybe 24 to 48 hours after May 5th and see if the way your words come out, you might have more choice around that and more space. Whew. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to proceed by sign in just a moment. I'm going to take a pause and I'll tell you what the sign is before I say it. This is the Aries and Aries rising section of the video. And Aries and Aries rising, you have this full moon on May 5th, 2023, is landing for you in your 8th house, which is, this full moon is eclipse, is inviting you to, if I'm Aries, Aries rising, here's what comes up for me. I might be having some surprises and shocks and wonderings about what it looks like for me to, what is my physical home? What does it look like? Am I enjoying it? What am I communicating about my physical home? And also my sense of security and finances. And the full moon, if I'm feeling wondering about this, there could be some sort of a surprise for you. Let's say you maybe some distant relative leaves his or her body and leaves you a surprise inheritance. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that were to happen for you, Aries, Aries rising, during this eclipse. It could look like that. It could be, oh, I got an amazing tax return. This is so surprising. I didn't expect it. I know tax season is over in the United States, but it could look like that with this lighting up your 8th house. It can also be, if I'm feeling like I don't know how to land in feeling secure and steady, can I dive into some magical, mystical practices? Like I'm going to go into maybe I'm going to create a potion. Like it can be you going out into the fields and picking some dandelions or violets and coming home and putting them in a tincture with some, I don't know, some water and alcohol, and you make some sort of a little potion that is the purpose of which you infuse with a sense of security. Like I give thanks. I am thankful that I am safe, that I am cared for, that I have a roof over my head and food to eat. You call all your angels and guides, and you know that they are there to support you, which might not be the easiest practice right now. I know that, Aries, Aries rising. to really tune into and feel your guides and angels. And I want to honor that. It makes sense if you're feeling like you're not totally sure if they're with you, if they're hearing you. And I'm here also to offer reassurance that they're hearing you. Your friend, your house of friends and communities and groups, Aries rising, is beginning to shift and change. So it might be that over the next 2.5 years, you start to find a new group that supports you in connecting even more with your guides and angels. We have Aries rising, also your house with this eclipse, the area of your chart that's around you connecting with spirit. It's like it wants you to get a little more ship, like, oh, I'm Aries rising, and I need to actually, no, I don't like that word. I am being invited to step into having more structure and more systems about how I connect in with my guides and angels. I have so much ability. Why am I speaking with a British accent? I think I was trying to be a little bit of Mary Poppins. So, yes. If you need to have a big cry, Aries rising, let the tears come out. Let that brush fire of heat come out of your eyes during this eclipse. Can you be open to the unexpected? Can you, when all else fails, can you go run up a giant staircase, run up and down like 4 times? I honestly don't know if I could do that because I would probably have to stop after 2 times, but this is my imagination that this might feel helpful for you because your ruling planet is in a water sign. Your Mars is in a water sign during this eclipse, and it might be like, oh, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm an Aries rising. I feel like someone has poured water all over me and it's put out my fire. And so what would it be like to activate the fire a bit by moving? And I invite you to know that you do have magic at your fingertips. You do have magic accessible. You get to connect in with your magic. You get to say, I give thanks to my guides and angels and most well-heeled ancestors that I am divinely led and divinely protected. You get to do that. What would that be like, Aries rising? I'd love to hear from you if you're open to sharing in the comments. Thank you so much. Taurus and Taurus risings. This eclipse is happening for you. This full moon is happening for you in your 7th house, the house of long-term relationships, marriage, contractual relationships. So if you do work with clients, it's you working one-on-one with people, you being in a contract with other people. It could be you in a contract with your job, like someone has hired you and you signed a contract. And because this eclipse is taking place with Mercury retrograde, it could be a time when here you as a Taurus rising with Mercury retrograde in your sign, maybe you say, oh my goodness, the contract that I signed, I see things about it that don't work for me. I'm going to make a shift and a change. This is not, I need to ask for a revision. I need to revise. The lights turned off for a moment on how I was feeling about it all. And now the lights are back on and I can see that I need something else in this contractual relationship. It can also be, it can come up if you are in a marriage or a marriage-like relationship. You might have stuff bubbling up for you that is, oh, this isn't working for me. What can we do? How can we? So let's say, I'm going to make it very mundane, Taurus rising. Maybe the way your partner leaves the dishes in the sink overnight and plans to wash them in the morning is not working for you. And so what it might look like is, and this is language that I've learned from an amazing healer named Derek Hart. whom I follow on Facebook, and he's on Instagram, Derek Hart, is, oh, Jane, my partner, when you leave the dishes, I'm feeling really scared to talk to you about how you leave the dishes in the sink overnight. I'm feeling scared to talk to you about that. And I'm feeling afraid that we're going to get in a big fight about it. And then you say what, or I'm Jane, I'm feeling so angry that I feel like I'm going to explode about the dishes in the sink. And then Jane's work is to say, and to sit there, and I don't know how this lands with you guys, but it's coming up for me to seeing this as in your chart. Jane's work is to sit and lovingly hold space for you and look into your eyes and witness you in your fury. And then you both sit there together and you're like, hey, you just hold, this eclipse does not feel like I'm going to get up and make things happen eclipse. It's, I'm going to sit in this deep, dark, uncomfortable place with you. And that is not the ease. That is a warrior practice. For Taurus rising, Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's delicious. It's like, I want things to feel yummy. I want things to feel good. I want to feel pleasure. And with this eclipse in Scorpio, I don't expect it to be the most comfortable few day period, May 5th. So I'm hoping that by my saying that, you feel some validation and an honoring of what it's like to be in your skin, Taurus rising. You also are having the planet Mars is loudly talking to Uranus right now. So it's, if you feel lightning bolted or prickly Uranus, which is in Taurus, it might, that prickliness might want to come out as knives or bullets from your mouth, like attacking someone else. It can even be physical. It can be like, I'm grabbing you and want to hold you, and like, even it can feel like you want to shake someone. And can you, Taurus rising, practice the advanced practice of growing your spiritual and energetic container, you stronger. Your physical body, you are a Taurus, that's the most incarnate energy, but could you sit and feel what it's like to want to lash out, to want to, if you're hurting, to what, can you sit and feel what it's like to want to cause harm to that other person? Usually it's the people closest to us that we end up wanting to hurt. Can you sit and experience that and not actually do anything, especially for the next 24 to 48 hours after this full moon? What would it be like for you to sit, feel the feelings, invite yourself to remember that a big emotion is not necessarily an emergency, and to see what more will be revealed as I sit with these feelings, and perhaps remember that feelings aren't facts. I wonder what's coming up for you hearing me talk about this with this full moon in your 7th house and how it might be activating for you. I'd love to hear in the comments if you're open to sharing. Gemini and Gemini rising. Thank you so much for being here. This eclipse for you is landing in your 6th house. Let me make sure that I am correct about that. I want to double check. That's correct. What is also happening for you, Gemini rising, at this time is you have this helper in your sign. You have Venus in your sign, which I feel like is helpful. It's this planet of coming back to, what do I enjoy? What feels delicious? What feels delightful? What am I enjoying about being in my body? Where are my words coming? Am I able to speak and find my words with support. I'm setting the timer so I make sure I don't over talk with Venus and Gemini, talking about Gemini risings. So I feel like that is a supportive energy for you while this eclipse is happening in your 6th house. It can be an invitation to reflect for Gemini risings. What about my daily routine and my daily life and my connection to health? Where can I dig deeper? And I feel like that probably sounds annoying. And it is an actual invitation that you're getting here. Where can I dig deeper? Where can I go? Maybe there's some sort of a practice that I've been interested in doing. Like maybe I want to do a daily connection down with this eclipse is also talking to your house of connection to spirit, because it's on the 6th house and 12th house axis. So it's this, I want to connect with spirit more as a Gemini rising. What part of my daily routine and daily life can be infused with my diving into even more profound parts of myself. Take what you like and leave the rest about this. Maybe it's, I'm going to actually invite myself to remember, what was it like maybe I go back to my birth story as a Gemini rising. And maybe someone has actually told me what it was like when I came through out of the vaginal canal into the world. And I go back. This is the kind of scorpionic work that you might do. Let's say you set it up for like the next month, that every day you take about a minute or so. This is what's coming to me. And I'm going to lean into, okay, here I came. Let's say it was like my birth, for example. I came out feet first in an army hospital. My mother was knocked out with drugs when I was born. So here's the invitation. Oh, wow. I'm going back as a Gemini rising, and I'm going to once a day, for a minute a day, I'm going to set a timer, envision myself, greeting myself as I come through, as I come into this incarnation, as I am here witnessing me as the infant being born, and I'm going to hold space for myself. Because when our spirits are not in our bodies, there's no past, present, or future. So you actually can do this. You go back, you say, I'm here, I'm with you. I know that was either a fabulously easeful and ecstatic birth experience for you, Gemini rising, or it was really difficult. And I'm going to hold space for you. And I'm going to envision myself holding you skin to skin, so you get regulated, so that you feel my heartbeat to my heartbeat, Gemini twins. Okay, this is making sense. Me to me, I am, and it's this really, really deep, old SHIT that wants to bubble up. How can I make it part of my daily routine to do this kind of healing work for my own self, which will then free me up to connect more profoundly with spirit, to delight in connecting with spirit, to delight in being in a human body. Wow. I feel like there's some sort of like, this eclipse can be a potent teacher for you, or you step into your power as your own teacher, or you find someone who feels vibrates teacher energy for you, that you want to land in their energy with this eclipse, because Pluto, while this eclipse is happening, is just entering your teacher area of your chart. So it's powerful as this eclipse is happening. Who feels like I want to sit in their energy and feel their vibration as my teacher? Or do I want to do that for myself? Or is someone coming to sit in my energy as their teacher? This is potent. Gemini, Gemini rising. I wonder how this lands with you. I'd love to hear in the comments if you feel open to sharing. Thank you so much. Again, take what you like and leave the rest. Cancer, suns, and Cancer rising. This eclipse is happening for you in your 5th house. This full moon eclipse is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of fun and creative projects. And it's an interesting conglomeration of energy for you, Cancer sun, Cancer rising, because it feels like there's a should around it, like it should be fun, it should be exciting, it should be, I mean, infused with creativity, and it is a Scorpio eclipse. The moon does not particularly like your ruling planet. The moon is in Scorpio, which is not her favorite sign. And she's like, I don't really want to go down into the depths here. This is not feeling particularly great. So if you are feeling, when this eclipse is happening, when this full moon is happening, Cancer suns and Cancer risings on May 5th, if you're feeling like, oh, I don't really, having fun is not coming to me easily. Maybe instead, it also is on the axis for you of the fun and creative projects and hobbies, and also your friend area of your chart, like your friends, communities, and groups. So maybe you dance into the other pole of that, of this eclipse, the 2 axes for your chart. So maybe it's, if I'm a Cancer sun, Cancer rising, I say, okay, I'm actually going to go out and be with the people that feel like community to me, the people that feel like friends, the people that make me feel like I am home, I am safe, I feel cared for and comforted here, where I feel like I can be nurtured and I also am able to nurture. Again, for those of you listening, if you're newer to me, I am open about the fact that I go to 12-step recovery groups. And if you don't know what that is, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. There's pretty much a 12-step for everything. And that for me feels like a really good place to land during this eclipse full moon for Cancer, Cancer rising. It's like, okay, I know that I can go. Where can you go on this full moon eclipse, Cancer, Cancer rising, where you can share what it's like to be in your skin, authentically, not pretending everything's great. If everything's great, you can say that, and no one's going to try to fix you. No one's going to try to change you. People will witness you, and there's no talk back. There's no one saying, oh, well, this is what comes up for me. Like, you get to simply say what it is like to be you, and then have it heard and witnessed, which can be incredibly healing. Cancer, Cancer rising, you are having the planet Pluto beginning to enter the 8th house for you at this point. So, I mean, he is retrograde when this full moon is happening. However, you might be feeling these 8th house things starting to awaken for you in profound ways as this eclipse is happening. This is not like a light and fluffy eclipse that makes me say, oh, it's gonna be so much fun. I don't, maybe it will be. I'm hoping it will be, but it also feels heavy and dense to me for you, Cancer, Cancer rising, also because it's trining your sign. So there's a lot of feeling that might be buried, that might be down from, when you're like, let's say I actually am cleaning out one of my rooms right now. And there are fur balls, like we have 4 cats. There are fur balls in the corner that I'm like, how old is that? And I have to clean it up and maybe use some like vinegar and water and clean out that area. And who knows how old that dirt is. This would be a time when that kind of emotional subject matter might be excavated, might be bubbling up, it could feel physical. You could feel like you have to purge, like you have to throw up or have diarrhea. And if it doesn't feel like that, it might be these stuck, I'm getting an image of a lot of stuck emotion, or I'm picturing plaque on teeth that needs to be scraped away, that wants to come out. So if you feel some movement, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so uncomfortable, I feel you're having the planet Uranus activated as well with this eclipse. If you feel Cancer, Sun's Cancer risings, could you, instead of going back into your shell, which is you come by it honestly, it is a safe space for you, Cancer, Sun, Cancer rising. The shell is your home. And could you plan to stay open? Could you plan to stay like, okay, wow, I know I'm having a lot of feelings and this is really uncomfortable, and I'm going to invite myself to bear it. I'm going to sit. I'm going to breathe. I'm not going to talk about anything really importful and impactful and make any decisions right this moment while this is happening. I'm going to see what more is revealed and give myself 24 to 48 hours till after the eclipse to have that conversation. How does this land for you, Cancer, Sun, Cancer risings? I'm curious. Thank you so much. Leo Sun and Leo rising. Hello. Thank you so much for your gorgeous shining light. This eclipse for you is bringing, I'm laughing because it looks a little like, okay, here. I am, as this eclipse is coming, I'm a Leo rising. I'm going to invite myself to remember the eclipse on May 5th, that this is going to bring up feelings of what it was like to grow up in my family of origin, be it good, bad, indifferent. It's all going to this is what it looks like for me astrologically. It's going to be bubbling up and out. It's like, oh, that person's reminding me of my sister. Oh, that person's reminding me of my dad. Oh, that person is my mother. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love them. Oh, my God, I'm having such a big reaction. What is this about? Oh, blah. Like it can feel really, I don't think there's ever a completion to our healing process. Therefore, whatever is still in there about growing up with your particular family, it can be adopted or birth family and a mixture of, is getting ready to, let's clean it out even more. Let's dig down and dig out the decay at the bottom of the cavity. Oh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies to even say that, but dig down, dig it up and out. Bring it up and out so that then we can clean out that place even more deeply, and there can be a deeper healing. And it is usually not the most pleasant experience to get a cavity cleaned out, even with Novocaine. It's not my favorite thing. When you are doing that, Leo rising, there could be, I feel like you start cleaning the hose that is this water. When you turn on the hose after it's been off for 5 years, the water that comes out might be black, and then it can run clear, and your career area, or you in the public eye, might be able to shine even more. People are attracted to you, to your deliciousness. I'm saying you're delicious because it's in Taurus. As a Leo rising, there is an aspect of you that's here to be seen, to be witnessed, to shine. This sun, the sun can fit 1.3 million planet Earths into it. So it's a really enormous heavenly body. So here you come. I know that in my career area of my chart as a Leo rising, I'm having lightning bolts, I'm having awakenings, things have been moving. It's a little unpredictable since March 6th of 2019. If you think back to March 6th of 2019, there have probably been changes and shifts, and you're not quite sure how things are going. That's when Uranus entered Taurus. So that was in your 10th house in your career area of your chart. And Oh my goodness. And you are also having Pluto as a Leo rising. You're having Pluto entering your contractual area. I mean, Pluto is retrograde now, but he's entering your contractual relationships area of your chart as well. So you might be starting to have bubble up some questions about, okay, how is this working for me? I'm in this marriage, for example, that's a contractual relationship. It's a legal document that we sign when we get married, at least in this country. Is this what is coming up for me here? Am I enjoying this? Does something need to shift? Is it me replaying a pattern from my family, my birth family, my adopted family? Am I replaying a pattern here? Can my partner and I come together and heal this together? Can we work? It's through relationship, in my experience, that I've done the most healing. Can my partner join me in doing some big healing work? What would that look like? This is a powerful eclipse to show. I feel like it can show you the places where there's stuckness. It's not comfortable, because when I'm stuck in something, I'm stuck for a reason. It can feel like survival. It can feel like there can be obsession with this obsessive thinking coming up around this eclipse, Leo rising. And if that happens, what would it be like you can even use your fingers as like your fingers are scissors, and picture like I'm cutting that thought loop that I'm in. I'm cutting it. I cut it. I use my hands as scissors to cut the etheric cords that are connecting me to that story that's going around and around in my head. And oh my gosh, this is just the way it is in my house. There's a container of white bees in the background. And that's perfect, because I feel like our guides and angels are showing you that it is about like the literal SHIT being coming up to the surface. Oh gosh. So that is what's coming up for me, Leo risings. I'd love to hear what it is like to hear me share this. Thank you so much. Virgo suns and Virgo risings. Thank you so much for being here. This full moon eclipse is happening for you in your third house. So, and it's in Scorpio. So it's like, it is workable. If I'm a Virgo rising, I don't feel like you have this, it's a sextile with your sign. So that's helpful. I am a Virgo rising, and let me set my timer, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury, I can just talk when it's Virgo. Here I am, I'm a Virgo rising. There might be parts of how my mind works with this eclipse happening in your third house. I wonder, it could be because Scorpio energy is related to Pluto. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. I might get caught in some loops, some mental loops, some obsession, a feeling of, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about this, or I can't, it's almost like you might keep saying or repeating the same thing over and over and over. You get stuck. And when that happens, if that happens, can you use your fingers to cut the cords that are connecting you, that are making you stay in this loop? Can you, instead of staying stuck in this, it's like a neighborhood of Scorpio, because the third house is the neighborhood, it's your neighborhood. Can you also then involve going across the chart to expanded journeys, big adventures? Can you use this? Maybe you go out and you taste some dish that you've never had before. Like I don't recommend this, but I did once eat jellyfish, which was very disgusting to me, but I did eat it. I think I was a teenager. That would be the kind of mind expanding, palate expanding in Taurus experience that might feel supportive or helpful for you during this eclipse, during this full moon lunar eclipse on May 5th. Maybe you also go and roll around in the dirt. Like I'm feeling like I'm so much in the mental, and it's in a rather shadowy realm for me, being in this mental space. And so I'm going to go roll around in the dirt outside. I'm going to go smell a bunch of flowers. I'm going to plant some flowers and allow the flowers to teach me. I'm going to sit and stare at the plants, and I'm going to listen to the fairies and elementals that want to speak to me. I'm going to open up my lines of communication in and out. Virgo energy, you can get so hyper focused, so laser focused, that it can be hard to open up and expand your perspective sometimes. So here, what would it be like to allow yourself to expand, to grow more decadent? Virgo is not a decadent sign. And yet with this full moon talking very loudly with Taurus involved, can an experience of I feel so expansive, even if you act as if, what would that be like? Like I'm going to act as if I feel expansive. I'm going to act as if I feel abundant. I'm going to allow that conversation that I'm having with myself to move this energy. This eclipse and full moon they're in fixed signs, and you're mutable. You are a mutable sign. Virgo is able to shift. It's the sand in my fingertips pouring through my hand, and then I see the sand sprinkling out on the ground, or the tectonic plates are moving. So here I am as a Virgo rising. I'm going to allow myself to land a little more in this fixed energy. I'm going to see what that's like. I'm going to delight in the slowing down of time. When eclipses happen, they can really warp or expand our sense of time. It can be, oh, I have no idea what day it is. I don't know what time it is. Eclipses come and they turn the lights off on this full moon, or it's not a full moon. Oh yeah, it is a full moon. They turn the lights off for a bit on the full moon that should be shining on us in theory, and then they turn the lights back on. So it's almost like you missed a few minutes there because you don't know what happened. Everything went dark. When this experience happens for you, Virgo rising, can you let go of your amazing Mercury as your ruler? Can you let go of your mind trying to figure it all out and land in the experience of being in your body? Can you allow, if there is some shadowy subject matter that is bubbling up through your mental, can you possibly write what that's like? Because you have Venus is in the third house right now. So Venus is in Gemini. Wait, let me say it differently. Let me say that differently. Venus is in Gemini. She is supporting you. Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, just like you. Can you possibly write what it's like to be in your skin and allow that to come onto either the computer page, or you're actually writing it out? Maybe you do this. It's called, I don't remember what it's called, but you write with your left hand, or you write with your non-dominant hand and see what comes out that way. This is what's coming up for me, seeing how this eclipse is landing for you, Virgo rising. I wonder how it's feeling to hear me talk about this for you. I'd love to hear in the comments if you're open to sharing. My glasses are cockeyed. I do not have the harmony for Libra rising. This full moon eclipse is happening for you in your second house. Your second house of a feeling of security, of safety, of what is your home, what feels like your safe space, that your actual physical home. It can be around your finances, and it could be a time when I wonder if some sort of here's a good fantasy of how this could look. It's like I'm a Libra, Libra rising, and I find an unexpected surprise of a secret stash of money. Like when I was growing up, my parents found a secret stash of $40,000 hidden in a wall in my uncle's house after my uncle left his body. And there it was hidden behind a brick in cash. So I am wondering if something like that could happen for you during this eclipse, Libra, Libra rising, because there is an element of surprise and shock, secrets, deepest, like literally excavating in the realms of finances, in the realms of your physical home. I mean, that was an amazing example of that. What this could, I wonder if any of you Libra, Libra risings have this happen during the eclipse, please tell me, because I will be so fascinated and thrilled to hear that. It is also for you, with it happening in your second house, lighting up the area of your chart that can you dive more deeply into the mystical, magical, mysterious realms that are not really visible. It's because it's eighth house. It's maybe I'm a Libra, Libra rising, and I'm going to, I picture you doing some sort of a full moon ritual. I don't know what that would look like though. I don't usually do rituals around eclipses. I know some people do. I think they're so strange. They're such, eclipses are such mysterious times that I'm like, I'm just going to ride it. I'm going to sit in the energy of the eclipse. I'm not going to actually try to add anything else, because already the universe and nature are making it all as magical and mystical as possible. And do I really need to add any more? And Libra, Libra rising, you might feel like you're interested in exploring that. It's happening as well for you as your area of your chart that's around play and what feels like fun to you is going through a death and transformation. It's starting. It's what creative projects I wonder if you're feeling a little stuck these days around how do I land in my creativity, Libra, Libra rising. A lot of you are artists. Your ruling planet is Libra. It is Venus. So the goddess of beauty, the goddess of love is your ruling planet. And it's how do I step into connecting with her? And I do creative projects, and I want to know something about the way I've been doing it up until now is starting to disintegrate and die, and I'm going to be birthing something new, and I don't know what it's going to look like yet. And that's okay. You don't have to know. You can let it sit. Can you rest in the mystery, eighth house stuff, as this new energy starts to incarnate through you. The eclipse is, it's almost like you can't really see it, Libra, Libra rising. It's like whatever this energy that happens on May 5th and around those days, whatever bubbles up for you around this, you might not be aware of it until a few weeks after May 5th. Let it, if you're like, oh, I didn't have some sort of a big reveal financially, or I don't know, like, I didn't get some sort of exciting inheritance, surprising inheritance. See what more is revealed in the next few weeks. It also could be an inheritance of spirit, an inheritance of, I am feeling so, I didn't know, for example, my grandmother was practicing, had a crystal ball and used to look into the crystal ball to see messages from beyond. If you're a Libra, Libra rising, that might start to bubble up for you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just learning about all of this magic that I have in my DNA that I wasn't aware existed until around this eclipse period. And also keep in mind that you can feel eclipse energy about we're in the eclipse portal. So it's eclipse portal is 6 weeks total. It's about from April 6th through May 19th. So allow that you might have had some of these reveals in advance of this eclipse, and you might have some afterwards. And that makes sense to me. If that is the case, you are absolutely not alone. And I wonder what more will be revealed as you stay with this. I'm so curious. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll be interested to read how this lands for you if you're open to sharing. Scorpio rising. This full moon eclipse is in your first house. Yes. You're a Scorpio. You're a Scorpio rising. I make up that you're used to intensity. Your ruling planets are Mars and Pluto. I mean, how cool are you? I'm a little bit of a fan. I don't have any planets in Scorpio, so I'm like, wow. And so with this in your first house, I feel like there's an activation for you around, I am a Scorpio rising in the deepest parts of myself that are still not needing. We don't need to do anything. We're exactly right, just as we are. And there's an invitation, if you would like, to excavate even further these areas of your whole being that might have stagnant, decaying energy that wants to come up and out. It probably is emotional, I'm imagining. And so I'm hoping that you might be able to access some tears during this eclipse. You might be able to dive into these realms of picture down to the root of your being. For me, it's really your perineum. You know what that is? I don't think Facebook or whatever, I don't think YouTube's going to censor that. It's probably your perineum. And if you picture all the way down there at the root of you, what feels stuck, what feels stagnant, what feels like it wants to be like excavated, scooped away, cleaned out. It might even be, if you have access to this ability, which not everyone does, it might not be in your chart, but to be able to visualize, okay, I'm going to clean out this stagnant energy. I'm going to excavate. Ooh. When I did that, it was like an earthquake on my desk. I'm going to clean it out. I'm going to picture clearing it away, sending what is, and just like allowing it to dissipate out into the world. It might be you taking big full breaths in and exhaling through your mouth. It feels really like a really tight bud of that wants to have breath, that wants to have air, that wants to breathe. That is there for me when I'm seeing this eclipse and how it's landing for your chart. You might have awakenings and revelations around your contractual relationships, like your marriage, your job, your relationship with your employer, you in relationship to your clients, if you work one-on-one with clients. You might have, it could be that, oh my goodness, I have more access. Let's say you work with clients as a therapist. Scorpio does rule psychotherapy. Let's pretend you work with your clients as a therapist. And here come you, through the activation of this eclipse, this full moon eclipse on May 5th, you suddenly have more access to profundity, to holding space for people when they're having their most painful, grief-filled shadow moments. And you are able to, your capacity is broadened and expanded as you work with this eclipse productively. And you are having your family of origin area of your chart is also getting asked at this point to have more attention paid to what was it like growing up in, if I am a Scorpio rising, what was it like to grow up in my family? What areas of that part of my life could do with some deeper excavation? Like maybe my perfectionism I'm just using this as an example, as a Scorpio rising, maybe my want to be perfect actually comes from growing up in a family where I was afraid of the emotions of my parents if I did something wrong. And therefore I learned to do everything right and be perfect and not allow myself any space to make mistakes so that I could survive growing up in my family. And now this eclipse is inviting me to take another look at that. The lights are turned off in the emotional realm around that, and they're turned back on. And maybe I want to do something differently now. Well, maybe I want to live my life a little more with loving my gorgeous mistakes, loving that I am perfectly imperfect and lovable. How does this land with you? I'm curious, Scorpio risings. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This full moon for you is landing in your, this full moon eclipse is landing in your second house. That's wrong. Hold on. Let me say this again. It's landing in your 12th house. The 12th house is things that are hidden from us, my Sagittarius friends. And it was hidden from me where this eclipse is landing for you. It's landing in your 12th house, things that are hidden from us. So it's in Scorpio, and it involves energies of Pluto, power, and Mars, aggression. So Sagittarius risings. What is it like for you during this eclipse? Let's say for the 2 days in front of May 3rd and 4th, and May 5th and May 6th and 7th. Let's give it that wide a berth. What is it like for you to dive into where do you give your power away? Where do you lean into your power? Where are you able to step into your power more in your daily life? Like, I'm going to go around as a Sagittarius rising, and I know that I am fire and I'm fun. Sagittarius energy can tend to be fun, and people, I almost always want a Sagittarius at if I'm having a group event, because it's a fun energy. And right now you're being asked, Sagittarius rising, to go inside to where can I connect in with spirit? Can I make it some sort of a let me see how else this is landing for you. Can I allow my the steadiness of my daily routine, which is not something that necessarily comes easily to you as a Sagittarian, because Sagittarius does enjoy freedom, but can there be something steady in my daily routine that allows me to remember to connect in with my angels and guides in a profound way? It can even be thank you to my most well-heeled ancestors that I am divinely led and divinely protected. Sagittarius rising, can it also be, you might find during this eclipse that you want to move your body and run around. You might be having a lot of physical energy that wants to come out, and can you do something that feels fun to you? Can you allow yourself to also, I'm looking to see what else is happening for you in this eclipse. If you're noticing, if there's fantasy or imagination around what it maybe was like growing up in your family, and that is started fading away, like, oh my gosh, I thought my family was the Brady Bunch, I thought my family was Disney World, and actually now I'm seeing that there were a lot of secrets in my family of origin that I'm only now learning. Like, this could be, it could show up as, oh my gosh, Aunt May had a secret love child that I'm only learning about, and now I know I have another cousin. I feel like something like that could be showing up for you during this eclipse. Like, oh my gosh, I suddenly have another sibling that I didn't even know about. Is that making sense? I wonder if that's making sense to anyone. Maybe not. I invite you to go with the flow around this eclipse, which Sagittarius rising is not that hard for you. Like, okay, wow, my plans got changed. Okay, I can go with that. I'm a mutable sign. I would expect that during this eclipse time, again, from April 5th, April 6th through May 19th. Can you stay loose with your plans? Can you plan to have to shift things up at the last minute? And it could be that you come out of this eclipse experience with more of a profound connection to your guides and spirits, because it maybe is even you, even though this is not the nature of your sign, but quieting down, slowing down, landing in your body long enough to feel your feelings in the front and back of you, all over your whole body, feet and head. And as you do that, it might illuminate like a new crack or a new opening to your connection to your guides, angels, God, goddess, whatever you call that, source, the universe. That might open up for you around this eclipse. How does this land with you? I'd love to hear what it's like to hear me say all this, Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Thank you so much. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Thank you so much for being here. This full moon eclipse, hold on, I'm going to tell you where it's landing, is landing in your 11th house. Yes, your 11th house, which is the house of friends, communities, and groups. It is lighting up for you your house of fun and projects. And it would be this, so here, I wonder if some sort of an emotional experience might happen for you around your friends and communities. Like, okay, I really enjoyed being in this group of people. I've enjoyed these friendships. And now something is showing up. Like I'm seeing, oh, maybe it's I'm getting more, we're talking about this. Maybe it's, oh, those people have been talking about me and a secret is revealed and I have feelings about that. And I don't feel like being friends with those people anymore. It could be like that. It could be, the way I want to have fun is changing, and the people and groups and communities that I hang out with in order to have my fun, that's shifting and changing, and I don't actually feel like I want to be with those people anymore. It could look like that. It can look like Capricorn rising. I mean, for those of you who have a lot of Capricorn energy in your charts, my imagination about you is that you don't get particularly super emotional about, it's like more matter of fact, like, oh, this friendship is shifting and changing. It's not working anymore for me. So I'm going to go with that. Like, and you can bear it. That's what's coming up for me. I also want to honor Capricorn and Capricorn rising, that this eclipse for you is happening at the same time as your sense of security, your sense of financial security, your sense of your what your home feels like might be going through shifts and changes. It's just the beginning. It's Pluto just starting to enter your second house. So it's what feels safe and secure to me anymore? Do I feel like I want to rely on this friend group for security and safety? Does that want to shift? Am I ready to maybe it can even be, am I ready to let this friendship die away and something new be born? Oh my gosh. like making my throat close up to talk about it. It is Capricorn, Capricorn rising. This eclipse cycle is coming also on the heels of the sense of what feels like home to you, what feels cozy and comforting. Also, because the other eclipse was in your 4th house, it looks like, I wonder if you're feeling generally uncomfortable. Because this eclipse energy is really asking you to see with new eyes what feels like home to me, what feels nurturing, what was happening before as in a sense of nurturance does not work anymore for me as a Capricorn, Capricorn rising. What is dying and wants to be born? Something new, something when something leaves my life as a Capricorn, Capricorn rising, there's a void and a vacuum and it wants to be filled. Yeah, wow. It feels like it feels pretty profound in a feeling sense to me for Capricorn and Capricorn rising. And I know I want to remind you that your glyph for Capricorn, Capricorn rising is half goat and half mer beast. So you are a bridge. You have the ability to dive into the deepest depths of the oceans and pull up the treasures from the bottoms of the oceans that we can't even, our machines can't go there because our machines will get crushed by the pressure. So when you dive into these realms, Capricorn, Capricorn rising, if you're feeling really disoriented and unmoored right now, I wouldn't be surprised by that. And there's an invitation to remember that even though, people think, oh, Capricorn is Earth, you get to dive into the magical realm. So what would that be like for you? What would that be like to pause and breathe and say, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to very thoughtfully connect in. And I give thanks to all of my angels and guides and the magical, benevolent energies at the bottoms of the oceans. We don't even know what's down there. I am going to allow myself to expand my energetic container to allow in benevolent, helpful energies from the bottoms of the oceans where my mer beast tail as a Capricorn can go. And I'm going to invite those supports in during this eclipse, which can feel heavy. It can feel heavy to you. It can feel like, oh my gosh, I can't get going. It could possibly feel like you can't get out of bed. And that's rare for a Capricorn. So I wonder how this lands for you. Those are the images that come to me when I'm looking at the eclipse chart for your sign. I'd love to hear how this lands. And thank you so much for trusting me. Aquarius rising. This full moon eclipse is in your career area of your chart, you in the public eye, how people see you, the public sees you, and it's on an axis with you and your sense of home, your sense of what feels cozy and comfortable to you, what feels like where do you feel nurtured and you're being asked to, here's what comes up, the 10th house, it's in the 10th house for you, Aquarius rising. So it is work, you can work with this because Scorpio energy is, well, actually, no, that was wrong. Wait, it's in a square, actually, it's squaring your sun. Okay. You are being asked with this eclipse, Aquarius rising, to hold the tension between your sense of yourself at your root. Where am I giving my power away? Where do I step into my power in the public eye? The lights will turn off for a little bit around your emotional realm, how you feel being seen in the public. And then the lights will turn back on and you might have new feelings about you in your power being seen in your power for the incredible magical being that you are. I mean, you are the water bearer. You come and you hold the element of water, which is this eclipse. You're the container for the water. You're the container for the magic. That's a lot of holding power that you have. And you are being asked even yet again, along with the fact that you just had Saturn move through your sign for the past 2.5 years. You made it. Great job. And now you're having Pluto coming into your sign, Aquarius, Aquarius rising. So I really want to honor those of you who are Aquarians and Aquarius risings, that you, when you all came into your bodies, I really do believe your spirits and souls were like, okay, our mission is not, we're not here for the small stuff. We're here, it's big. We know that we are going to go on a very big, amazing soul evolution school this time around. And here we are, we're here for it. And I want to honor that it's not the easiest. It's not. And it's having a square to you in your contractual relationships areas of your chart as well. So you might be having, it could be, this eclipse is making a big square in your chart. So here's some things that you can draw on. You have Jupiter in your house of communication and how your mind works in this eclipse, during this May 5th eclipse. So can you move yourself a little bit? Like, even if you just go take a walk somewhere in your neighborhood, that's one way to work with this energy. You're having, maybe you want to do something during this eclipse that this can feel supportive as well. I'm going to do something that creates some structure or system in my house. Like, maybe I'm going to go out and buy a little container, get a little container and put it next to my desk. And that's where I'm going to put all my pens so that my pens aren't rolling all over the place. Maybe Aquarius, Aquarius rising during this eclipse, you give yourself permission to be rather practical about what it's like to connect with faith in general. Like, okay, maybe I'm not feeling, if I'm an Aquarius and Aquarius risings with this eclipse, maybe I'm not totally feeling all my guides and angels talking to me right this moment, and God, goddess, whoever you hear from. Maybe I'm not feeling this. So maybe I'm going to dive into the earth realms and actually land on planet Earth. I'm saying this because during this eclipse, you have Capricorn in the house of faith. Your planets that are, your houses that are around connecting to spirit are in earth signs. So what would it be like to land on planet Earth, land in your body? I actually am getting an image of you just lying on the earth, if you feel comfortable doing so, to feel supported as you hold this tension of this giant square during this eclipse. It's really potent, transformative energy, and that doesn't always feel particularly comfortable. We don't necessarily grow when we're feeling comfortable. At least I don't. So that's what's coming up for me, Aquarius, Aquarius rising. I'd love to hear how this lands for you, if you're open to sharing under the video. Pisces and Pisces rising. This eclipse is landing for you in your 9th house, which is the house of you traveling, expanding your consciousness. This is happening for me when I'm this. Sometimes it needs a gesture. It feels big, it can be also, because if you're going, let's say if you're going on a trip, oh, I had to stand up for that. If you're going on a journey or a trip during this time, Pisces rising, can you factor in that you might have to be flexible with your plans, which usually can be okay for you. You're a mutable sign. Can you factor in that there might be some a surprise element, like if you're, let's say you're leaving from your neighborhood and you, there might be a closed street for your journey. So allow extra time. The way your mind works and the way you communicate, I feel like could have some sort of a new illumination during this eclipse on May 5th, Pisces rising. It could be I'm going along and the way I have access to more emotions and more parts of my inner world than I did before. It does not come without emotion, without feeling. I feel tender inside, a sense of, can I be thoughtful as a Pisces rising about if I'm in a position of teacher, do I use my power for good, for positivity, or am I using my power in an abusive way? With Saturn in the sign of Pisces right now, that will also rein you, you'll be reined in. Like that is gonna, if you're using your power in a not healthy or kind way, Pisces rising, I'm imagining that you will be pretty quickly nipped in the bud for that. The eclipses, you might find that you do have energy for or emotional space to want to go and have some fun during this eclipse week. That's not, I'm surprised to say that, but it is trining your fun house. And the way you have fun, or the way you do your delight or projects or creative projects, might want to have some gravitas to it, so some profundity. It doesn't want to be all fluff. I know for me as a Pisces Mercury these days, I am not wanting to purposely watch movies that make me cry, because I already have so much access to that I'm like, I don't want to dive into that realm on purpose, like purposely put myself in that realm. And you might find that if you're watching this video, maybe if it's like, I'm going to go to something light, I might not actually want to dive into the deepest, darkest during this time, because you'll already have so much access to that with this eclipse trining your sun, trining your, it's like, what, maybe instead of doing something like watching a show during this eclipse, maybe what I'm going to do is go out and take a walk. Maybe I'm going to, do you like to meditate, Pisces rising? Can you sit? I mean, that's not, maybe people don't call that fun, but when I get to sit and meditate, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a relief. Now I am 52 years old, and I feel like I am, and after like billions of years of therapy and trauma work and addiction recovery, it actually does feel really good to me to sit still in silence. And it's taken a really long time for me to get to that place. And I wonder if that is something that's calling you during this eclipse season, Pisces rising. Are you being drawn to sit in more silence, to have more stillness, to slow things down? When you slow things down, you might find that even though you have the planet Uranus in your house of communication right now, you are able to not get swept away with a lightning bolt of explosion or volcano out of your mouth. And instead, because you've slowed things down enough, you have a choice about the words that actually come out of you. I'm working on that, and it is feeling really helpful. How does this land with you? I'd love to hear if you're open to sharing, Pisces and Pisces rising. Thank you all so much. Again, I invite you to keep in mind that I am seeing the astrology through the veil of my experience in this lifetime. So if it doesn't match for you, let it go. Take what you like and leave the rest about what I say. If you would like to work with me, you may go to my website at natalielevinastrology.com. I also am on YouTube at Natalie Levin Astrology and Facebook at Natalie Levin and Instagram at Natalie Levin Astrology. And I am so thrilled and honored to be with you all. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you, Nadiya Shah, for hosting me. It is an honor and a privilege. And I am looking forward to hearing from you all. I hope you take amazing care.